Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. This time I wanted to start a mini-series. I haven't done one of these in a while. Basically this mini-series I wanted to create was just going through my collection and showing off some pretty big keys, all in single videos instead of scattered throughout haul videos and things of that nature. I thought it'd be cool to do something like this, to put together a compilation, if you will, of this type of, or at least these type of videos, right? Okay, this first one here is going to be some of my big Marvel keys, all right? A lot of times people like watching these videos. Now, I'm splitting this up into two videos because my Marvel collection is probably the most dominant in my collection. I have some DCs, but DC and others don't even compare to the volume of books I have when it comes to Marvel. So this one's going to be split up in two videos because I think it'd be a little too long. And you know how I am when I talk a little too much. So this video right now, this first one, is going to be Raw books only. Then the next video, the part 2 of the big Marvel keys, will be slabs only. And then I'll go to my big DC keys, which will probably only be one video, and Independence, which will only be one video. And I might throw Independence and other. You know, the other might be the ECs and the Atlases and stuff like that, or I just might create a video just for those. I don't know. There's not too many of those to justify a complete video, unless it's a video like that, unless it's a complete video. But anyway, let's get started with this, okay? So we're going to start off now. Another little disclaimer. You know, there are some books that I chose not to put in this video, and there'll be some books I choose not to put in the other videos. Like I do have the first appearance of Nova, right? I do have the. I haven't even decided if I'm going to do this, but there are some other characters that are first appearances or something other than that make the book big. They may not necessarily be in this video, despite the fact that I own them. Well, of course, if I don't own them, they're not going to be here, right? I don't own a Tales of Suspense 39, so you're not going to see that in any of these videos. But there are other books like I just mentioned, Nova #1, which I do have. It's a key for sure, but I don't think, in my view, it's a big key to put in a video like this. So that's why some books I have you won't see. All right, so let's get started. I think that this is a pretty decent size key. I mean, it's especially in high grade. And I really don't have too many modern books, but here we have Edge of the Spider-Verse #2. This is the first appearance of Gwen Stacy as Spider-Gwen. All right. Now these two right here, it's a cameo and a full appearance. And I personally think, and some of you I think will definitely agree, I think it's a pretty big key. Now it's not, just because I say big key, yes, there are books in these videos that are going to be top dollar. But then there are some books that are still, I think, big keys that are not that expensive. All right. So here we start off with Conan the Barbarian #23, which is the first cameo appearance of Red Sonja. And then we have this one, which is my personal favorite because of the cover, Conan the Barbarian #24, the first full appearance of Red Sonja. I have a 6.0 of this. I think I got to upgrade to an 8 or an 8.5 because because it's like I said, it's not a super expensive book. It's not like a book that's thousands of dollars unless you maybe want to get a 9.8, which I don't. So it's pretty good to have. Okay, so let's go into a couple of Daredevils right now. Like I said, these are the raw books. I have other books that are slab, but the one big one that I think I have that's raw is #7. Art by Wally Wood, and this is the first appearance of the red costume, which is synonymous with Daredevil, right? This one is an upgraded copy of the first appearance of Bullseye, Daredevil 131. Here we have Daredevil 168, the first appearance of Elektra. Great cover, and she was a pretty important character in this era of Frank Miller written Daredevil stories, for sure. This one, now again, this is another example of a book that you could get even in high grade, like 9.6s, right? 9.6s. I don't know how much it goes for 9.8. Obviously a lot more, but you can get a really good copy at 9.6 for a decent price. And I think it's a very well-known cover and a big key in its own right. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars #8. This is the origin of the black costume that would become Venom. Here's a decent big book from the early Bronze Age of Marvel. And I have a nice copy of it too. Luke Cage, Hero for Hire #1, first appearance of Luke Cage. Now this one, of course, I got to add this. This is another book I got to upgrade. I think it's like a 6.5, but this is like my original copy from 1994. But here we have the Incredible Hulk, #180, the first appearance of Wolverine. I don't really have too many Hulk keys, big keys, other than the Wolverine issues. Here's an example. I have 182, right, which is the third cameo appearance. It's more of a cameo appearance of Wolverine. I have a nice copy too. I have like an 8.5, but I don't think it was that big to include in a video like this. We go back to the late Silver Age with Silver Surfer #1, right? And we'll spend a little more time in that series with Silver Surfer #3, the first appearance of Mephisto. Both nice mid-grade copies. Now we're going back to the modern era. I think this has become a pretty big book. I really do. I think it's bigger than the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. NYX #3, first appearance of X-23, right? I think that's anything with Wolverine's always good. We're going to spend a little time with New Mutants. We have New Mutants #87, first appearance of Cable. And we will leave New Mutants with this one, New Mutants #98, first appearance of Deadpool. Yeah, these two books, the 87 and the 98, I purchased those when I was a kid back in the early 90s, and I purchased them in really, really nice shape. And I think back then I paid more for the Cable than I did the Deadpool. That certainly has changed, right? It's turned around. I think this is a pretty big key. In its own right. I mean, I don't have too many Thor books, but I think this is pretty big. Big enough, at least. Thor, what is this, 165? Yeah, it's the first appearance of him who becomes Adam Warlock. First full appearance of him. Now we're going to go into some X-Men. Now, you know I have all the X-Men Silver Age books, but these are the raw ones that I think really stand out. Okay? Of course, we have X-Men #4. You watched my X-Men video, hopefully, that came out not long ago. I talked about this and I showed this off. So this is getting a little more time on screen, more than it has in years on my channel. But X-Men #4, the first appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but more importantly, the first appearance of the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. And yeah, believe it or not, I cut out a lot of the Silver Age X-Men books from this video that are raw. I just went with a couple. Yeah, the Sentinels, I don't have the Sentinels in this video. I thought the Sentinels are pretty big, but maybe I should have included them in this video. But I thought that the Juggernaut is a little bit bigger than the Sentinels. I mean, literally bigger than the Sentinels. But I think it's a bigger book. And I think it's more sought out. I mean, it is. This is a nice 5.0 copy, and I explained why it's a 5.0 in the X-Men video. But yeah, really cool. So we skipped the rest of the Silver Age. Yes, we skipped the first appearance of Banshee and Havoc and everybody else in between. And we go right to the Bronze Age with this one, X-Men #94, right? Now the X-Men are back. They've been in reprints for about 5 years, from 1970 to 1975, with issues 67 to 93. They came back with 94, and they came back with a bang. Here we have, yeah, I think this is definitely a big book. X-Men #101, first appearance of Phoenix. They finally figured out a good story for Jean Grey. You know, she was Marvel Girl, which is stupid. And she was just sort of like the token female character in the X-Men, right? And then when X-Men came back in 75 with Giant Size X-Men 1 and X-Men '94, they gave Jean Grey a more important role, and they gave her one of the most important roles in the Marvel Universe by giving her the alter ego of Phoenix, one of the most powerful entities in the Marvel Universe. So, pretty good. Pretty good, Chris Claremont. I don't know. I think this one's pretty big. It's got a bunch of first appearances in this. Uncanny X-Men 129, first appearance of Shadowcat and Emma Frost and Sebastian Shaw. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? I mean, I like Dazzler. I didn't include Dazzler in this. It's a great cover. Screams the late 1970s, but I don't think it's as big or should be on this list than Kitty Pryde. Now, here's one that I put. I only got a couple more X-Men here. This one I put on the list because I think it's a famous storyline and a famous cover that has been swiped many, many times. Again, not expensive. And, the Kitty Pryde book is not that expensive either. You're not going to be... for you new collectors out there, you're not going to go broke trying to get those books. But here's a great one. This is a nice high-grade copy, too. This was my very first, not this copy, but a copy. This was my very first X-Men book that I bought. If you ever watched The History of My Collecting, which came out, 6-7 years ago, I chronicled that. And I stated that it was X-Men numbers 141 and 142. Those were the first superhero books that I purchased when I became a collector and that I read. Last X-Men book, I still think this is a decent book. And again, like with so many others that you've seen on this list so far, in this video, it's not a terribly expensive book, even in 9.6, okay? Maybe even in a 9.8. You would think it'd be more, right? X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 266, first full appearance of Gambit. I mean, he's like one of the most popular X-Men that wasn't really a main character in the films. He was in that Wolverine Origins film, but, he kind of sucked, let's be honest. But I know when Marvel Universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're probably going to bring, I think they are bringing Gambit in, so it's definitely one to look for those of you that are like, I could get this cheap, and if you want to flip it. All right, we're done with X-Men. I'm going to go through another couple of series here. Here we have Tales to Astonish number 35. This is the first time Ant-Man, I think when he becomes the superhero, where he's wearing the Ant-Man costume, right? He shows up in Tales to Astonish 27, and it's not until 35 where he gets the costume and all that. Here's a big one. I got to upgrade this book like really soon. Tales of Suspense, I don't really have to, but I want to upgrade it. The Tales of Suspense number 52, the first appearance of Black Widow. Man, I can argue it's a pretty big book. She's become a very well-known character to people outside the hobby. And I think this one has come up too very much. We have Tales of Suspense number 57, the first appearance of Hawkeye. That's become a pretty big book too, right? I mean, it's not as big as Black Widow and some other books, right? But, it's definitely, if you're looking to collect Avengers books, it's one that's sought out, This is probably the most, the biggest of the modern era, I would say, by far. Ultimate Fallout number 4, first appearance of Miles Morales, and it introduces the world to the Miles Morales Spider-Man. Definitely. Actually, the variant of this, I think, is the king of the modern world, modern comic book world. But this is, highly sought out book. I remember when these were $20 a piece. And when I first got into the collecting, I found out there was another Spider-Man. And I was like, I'll get this. And it was like $20, really? And I was like, is it, is that book even really that important? Is that why it's only 20? Because $20 didn't seem like it was much. I should have bought more of them. But I was too hyper-focused on trying to rebuild what I had when it comes to some upgrades, some minor upgrading back then, and just filling in the gaps of the books that I never got before, got carried away. Okay, here we have Marvel Spotlight number 2, first Bronze Age appearance of Werewolf by Night. Remember, there was a character, I think he was a one-and-done character, but there was a character that appeared in the Atlas books. I forget which issue it was. It was Werewolf by Night. So it's a pretty cool book. Speaking of different versions of characters, here we have Marvel Spotlight number 5, the first appearance of the Bronze Age Ghost Rider. I should have included in this, I just completely slipped my mind. I have Ghost Rider number 1 from, I think it's from 1967, his first appearance of the Silver Age Ghost Rider, who's Carter Slade. That's a good one. I should have put it in, but I do have it. But that, I would consider that a decent size, because that one's gone up. I mean, it's not like super expensive, but it's being more and more recognized, you know. Now, of course, the Golden Age Ghost Rider would probably be the king of all three of them. All right, now let's get into some Fantastic Four. Now, here's my very low-grade copy of Fantastic Four number 1. I mean, this is the starting point of the Marvel Silver Age with Fantastic Four number 1. Yeah, low-grade book. Yeah, it's like, oh, you could upgrade that one. I would like to one day, but it's not in the near future. This is a pretty big. I mean, this is a decent-sized book. This is Fantastic Four number 6. It's the first villain team-up in the Marvel Universe between Doctor Doom and the Submariner. You know, that's got to count for something, and it's a single-digit Fantastic Four and the second appearance of Doctor Doom. Got a few more Fantastic Four. I think this is decent size. Fantastic Four number 13, first appearance of the Watcher, right? He's always been a main character in the Marvel Universe, and he's got that show now. What is it? What If? Yeah, I'm just not interested. Here's a decent book too. We have Fantastic Four number 45, first appearance of the Inhumans. I should get a better copy. I mean, this is a decent copy. It's probably like a 6, but I probably should try to get a little something better. You know, we'll see what happens. And here's another one. This one's over the last like 5-6 years has really gone up. Fantastic Four number 49, the first full appearance and the first full appearance of Galactus. Great memorable cover, and the second appearance of the Silver Surfer. Pretty big. Here's a book I want to upgrade. I have a 5.0, but I'd like to get a 7.5 of this. But I don't know when that's going to happen, or if it's going to happen. We'll see what happens. But Fantastic Four number 52. First appearance of the Black Panther. Really cool, right? And this has gone down a lot, you know, it really has. But it's Fantastic Four number 67. This is the first cameo of Adam Warlock. Remember when I showed you the Thor 165? That's the first full appearance of him. Well, this is like the cameo of him. It's a pretty decent cover. I think it's a well-known cover. So now we're getting towards the end of the video. You've been watching for 17 minutes. I appreciate it. Thank you all for sitting through this. But we are going to conclude with I think that's all Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll go through it all. Here we have the Amazing Spider-Man number 2, first appearance of the Vulture. Right. Let me see if I can just put these in my lap. It'll be easier for me to just sort through them. This is one I got to upgrade soon, but it's definitely an important book. You know, people like it. People seek it out. Amazing Spider-Man number 5. First time Doctor Doom is in this series. This is a nice copy. Amazing Spider-Man number 6, the first appearance of the Lizard. You know, all those early villain appearances are just really sought out. Second appearance of Dr. Octopus in Amazing Spider-Man number 11. Amazing Spider-Man number 13, the first appearance of Mysterio. Amazing Spider-Man number 20, the first appearance of the Scorpion. Nice copy of this. Amazing Spider-Man number 25, excuse me. It's cameo of Mary Jane. Amazing Spider-Man 31, the first appearance of Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn. Amazing Spider-Man number 41, the first appearance of the Rhino. I never got the interest in the Rhino. I just never liked him. Amazing Spider-Man number 42, the first time we actually see Mary Jane. Amazing Spider-Man number 100 because of the cover. I think it's well known and well liked, and a lot of Romita fans love this cover among many of his other covers. Amazing Spider-Man number 101. First appearance of Morbius. Amazing Spider-Man number 194, first appearance of the Black Cat. Amazing Spider-Man, one of my favorites. Amazing Spider-Man number 238, the first appearance of the Hobgoblin with tattoos. This is a classic. Amazing Spider-Man number 252, first appearance of the black costume. Again, like the Secret Wars 8, not that expensive. It really isn't. You can get a nice copy of it. You know, it's cheap. Well, you know, it's not cheap. Obviously, it costs something, but it's cheaper than I think a lot of people would think for that issue. And the last one for the Raw books, Amazing Spider-Man number 300, the first full appearance of Venom. Yeah, I could have added 298 and 299 to this, and yeah, we can make an argument that they're big keys too, but I don't think they're as big as the 300. So I hope you enjoyed part 1 of Big Marvel Keys. I'm going to do part 2 very soon, and it's just going to be slabs. And then after that, I'll probably do big DC keys and then big independent / other keys in my collection. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you tune in when the other videos come out. Leave a comment and if you want, and take care, everybody. Bye-bye.